Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you so much for taking the time to join us this Thursday afternoon before looks like to be a beautiful Memorial Day weekend. We are very excited for today's featured presentation. It was last minute, but sometimes those last minute presentation are some of the best. So we have today with us Jack Linehan, and I hope I pronounced that right, Jack.
You nailed it, really. Yep.
Okay, great. Who is the Senior Partnerships Manager with the National Fitness Campaign. And the description of today's presentation was Bring a Fitness Court to Your Community. National Fitness Campaign is calling on county government leaders, civic and education leaders, and community champions to join the urgent fight against sedentary lifestyles and preventable diseases. We can make a difference if we work together to increase outdoor movement and provide wellness activities that are equitable, accessible, and free. Let's build a free outdoor fitness court within a 10-minute bike ride of every American together. And this is both National Fitness Campaign and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas, who is bringing this grant funding to Kansas in 2024. So with that, I am going to turn the proverbial mic over to you, Jack, and give you the floor and just take it away.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Kimberly. Appreciate you giving me an opportunity to talk about this really unique initiative. I think what I'll probably do is share my screen here, and I'm going to keep this fairly brief and provide an overview around the campaign and the program, and I think it'll be pretty interesting for everyone. So Kimberly, maybe you can just confirm that you can see my screen.
Sure can, Jack.
Perfect. Great. Well, again, really excited to be here today. And, this program is really driven by a number of state and national healthcare providers across America. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas is really driving this campaign in your state. And really at the core, National Fitness Campaign is a wellness consulting firm. Our mission is to build healthy communities. So we're a pretty unique bunch. And what we're doing is developing these public-private partnerships with cities, counties, schools, and sponsors. And we're helping to fund, build, and activate what we call the outdoor fitness court, making world-class fitness free. So Kimberly kind of alluded to it, but the whole why behind this initiative is pushing back against the rising tide of preventable disease, really namely diabetes and obesity that are sweeping this country. And, really what we've learned is when communities are designed to support well-being, health outcomes change. The campaign has been up and running for over 40 years. It started back in the late 70s in the Bay Area, and quickly picked up steam. Wells Fargo Bank provided a lot of funding support in the 80s, and we expanded to 10,000 locations across 3 countries. The campaign was refunded and redesigned for the 21st century back in 2012. And this year, it's pretty exciting. We're welcoming our 500th healthy community, hoping to expand it to another 10,000 locations over the next decade. So this unique initiative is really a comprehensive community wellness program, equal parts healthy infrastructure, which is the fitness court itself, and campaign tools and services, which you'll see kind of wrapping around this fitness court on this flywheel, and it sort of ties everything together. And so the fitness court structure itself, to touch on that briefly, is roughly 38 feet by 38 feet, so half of a tennis court. It's really built around functional body weight movement patterns. So the beauty is that no matter your age, your body shape, your ability level, you can jump on this fitness court and get a great workout. And it's all tied together, digitally integrated through the free app, which is kind of a coach in your pocket. The fitness courts are really inclusive and accessible for everybody. We've got lots of seniors out there working on flexibility and balance. We've got folks, training for marathons, and we've even got folks in wheelchairs out there, working out on the court. So the fitness court is fully ADA compliant. These are some of the different tools and what we call our suite of services that we provide to every community we work with. It really starts with planning and funding support. There's a seed grant provided by Blue Cross Blue Shield of Kansas There's pre-launch support. There's a cool ambassador program, training program, which really helps activate this locally. And then there's some other tools, including a media and press kit and a ribbon cutting and launch assistance piece. So lots of support when it comes to really helping create impact. Another piece I wanted to mention is our public art program. There are lots of ways that Kansas communities can integrate local artwork onto their fitness courts and make it a one-of-a-kind work of art. There's also kind of a brand new form factor that we're launching this year called the Fitness Court Studio, which is adding essentially an additional outdoor fitness classroom on the back side of the fitness court wall here, where folks are doing more classroom fitness, Pilates, stretching, Zumba, Tai Chi, you name it. It's a pretty unique program that we're piloting across the country this year. So as we build out America's largest public-private wellness partnership, we're looking to expand this network of healthy infrastructure. And as Kimberly said in the beginning, looking to have a fitness court placed within a 10-minute bike ride of every American over the next decade or so. When we talk specifically about the program in Kansas, there's going to be up to $250,000 in grant funding provided by Blue Cross over the next couple of years, each calendar year. So there's a lot of grant funding coming to the state to provide, healthy infrastructure support to between 5 and 10 communities each year. There's a partnership qualification process that each community will go through in order to participate and become grant eligible. There's a few different steps here. Really just making sure, number one, that there's enough consensus within the local community. Number two, that we've got a great site picked out. Number three, that we've identified funding locally or through other funding mechanisms. And then finally, that the time frame works out from both the local agency and the grant cycle. So the grant application period is currently open. We are accepting, grant applications for this year. We're going to continue to work with Blue Cross over the next few years to provide, hundreds of thousands in grant funding to qualified communities. The program costs, program funding requirements are about $150,000 plus installation. And there are roughly, 5 to 10, $50,000 grants from Blue Cross. There's a lot of grant funding from Blue Cross of Kansas, plus consulting support from National Fitness Campaign. We are conducting priority briefings to assist folks in applying for grants. And that would really be kind of a follow-up step for any interested agency after today. We'll be including our contact information to help set up a briefing. And thanks so much to Kimberly and the Association of Counties for supporting today's discussion and for giving us a platform to really expand and grow healthy infrastructure across Kansas.
Thank you, Jack, for that high-level overview. Now I'm sure folks are going to have a lot of questions. Probably first of all, I know that you guys directed me to a site that there are already a couple of fitness courts in Kansas. Isn't that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, we've got roughly 11 fitness courts across the state. There's communities qualifying at the moment for available grants. A few of those communities include McPherson. Wichita is qualifying for multiple grants over multiple years. So there's quite a bit of excitement across the state at the moment.
And can you tell us, you just briefly mentioned the first step, but what would you suggest if a county's interested? What are the first couple of steps that you really want them to take?
Yeah, I mean, really the first step, Kimberly, we'll provide some contact information and who to get in touch with. But I think the first step would be a priority briefing with our partnerships team. And that just really provides a good opportunity to have a more in-depth discussion with, the local agency, the county, the municipality, whoever it is, to discuss potential partnership.
Okay, and within that, do you also discuss, because I know in talking with Lindsay, when I was talking, not Lindsay, well, anyway, whoever I was talking with on your team, sorry, you mentioned like the funding, public-private partnership as well built into that. Do you guys have some suggestions too within, like the county's considering it? Do you also, is that part of that priority briefing?
Yes, absolutely. So what we would do is kind of break down how the funding typically comes together, what the grant, from Blue Cross looks like, what the local match requirements look like, and then kind of develop a funding plan with, the county or agency who's interested in qualifying. So yeah, it's a pretty in-depth sort of consulting process that we will dive into together. And there'll be some questions from our end of things, better understanding how the agency's funding is set up, how programs typically get adopted, things like that.
Okay, and if anybody on the call has some questions, please, type those into chat. So while we have Jack here, that he can look at those, because if you're having a question, I'm sure others are as well. Jack, we did talk about, you mentioned in your presentation that there is funding going on in 2023, and with our announcement, we talked about that funding for 2024. So if they still tried to get in for the 2023 funding, would that actually be possible, or they could possibly get on the list for 2024? I mean, kind of where are you with that?
Yeah, absolutely. So really, I just use that slide as an example of what we did this year in Kansas. But really, what we're probably going to do today is really think towards 2024 qualification. I know a lot of county and municipal budget cycles begin in January, so this is generally the time when we'll start to have priority briefings with agencies and county leaders across Kansas to determine, eligibility and feasibility of this program come next year when that funding cycle opens up. So yeah, to answer your question, Kimberly, there's going to be, we'll have support for between 5 and 10 additional site locations per year starting in 2024. There'll be a minimum of $250,000 in grant funding that is available for eligible communities.
And the typical fitness court, does it have an estimated dollar amount that counties need to think about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the program requires funding for about 150,000 plus installation, and there's up to $50,000 grants available through Blue Cross. So generally, it's right around that range that will be provided by the county or the local agency as a local match. But the good news is that we've got deep expertise in sort of developing, as I said earlier, that funding plan, kind of a bespoke funding plan for each of the agencies and counties we work with to determine what makes the most sense, locally, and if there are alternate funding mechanisms and pathways that we can help identify outside of that budget.
So if somebody donates, say whether it's concrete or cement, I never can keep it straight for those, but so if you had somebody donate that, would that be considered part of that funding too?
Yeah,
Okay.
it would. Mm-hmm.
So in kind would also work.
Absolutely.
Okay. And so do you have a feel for the larger double court now that has is that going to be part of your 2024 funding program possibly? Is the double-sided court?
Yeah. The Fitness Court Studio is a program that we launched recently. We're currently in talks with a few Kansas communities about pilot studios in Kansas. It's certainly a a new exciting program that I think a lot of communities will get excited about. Given that it's kind of a wellness hub, you've got that fitness court circuit on one side, and you've got the the open air kind of classroom fitness pad on the other side. So that will be part of the conversation for folks trying to qualify in 2024.
Yeah, awesome. That is a really neat idea. Looks like we've got a question there from Mark.
Okay, Mark, let me see.
Do you see it? Or you want me to read it?
Usually be awarded. Yeah, so Mark, between 5 and 10 grants will be awarded. Out of that $250,000 grant amount each funding year.
It's good. We in Kansas are really good with art. There's varying art programs too, where murals are painted on buildings and things. So I could see that being also a plus for a lot of our Kansas counties and their communities.
Absolutely. Yeah, Mark, it really just depends. Grants typically range from $30,000 to $50,000. So I guess if you were to break down that math, that sounds right. But usually, depending on how many communities are able to qualify, it really just depends on a lot of different variables. Where agencies are in their budgeting processes. What parks currently would serve as good sites for a fitness court. So that the number of communities that are able to participate really varies year to year. What we do know is that we have $250,000 to award each year, and usually that'll go to between 5 and 10 cities and counties.
Mark, did that answer your questions? Yes. Great. Thank you. Thank you for the questions, Mark, because again, Jack and I are on here for you all to learn about this program and to ask any questions. I know a lot of times you get off, and when you go back to talk with your county folks about this, you're going to come up with more questions. I will let you know that we are going to do a follow-up with National Fitness, in that we're going to have an article in the June County Comment, which of course will go out to all of our county folks too. And that will provide some information as well. So you might not remember everything today, but we will have the recording link from today's Zoom meeting, as well as then we are going to have the follow-up county comment article. And Jack, while I think about that, I'm probably going to need to get back with you guys on that to make sure we get that information pretty quickly here. But yeah, this was just, when I had the initial conversation, I was like, wow, this is really neat, a neat idea, because I don't know about you, but we're in the time of the year where everybody wants to be outside.
Yeah.
And what a better way to be outside and get fit at the same time.
I agree. Couldn't agree more. Yeah, I think we're at a point in this initiative in Kansas where kind of hitting that tipping point, and there's a lot of interest right now in qualifying for these grants. So yeah, I would encourage anyone who is interested in learning more about the campaign and the grant opportunity to reach out. Again, Kimberly and I will provide some contact information, and what we want to do is set up a priority briefing call. It usually lasts between 30 and 40 minutes, and it's a good opportunity for y'all to ask any particular questions you like and hear a little bit more about how this can work.
And Jack, Amy is asking if there is the website we can visit to learn more, which yes, they have a website that looks a lot like like Jack's presentation just now. So we'll get that to you. And then just for our county folks, because they're a silent bunch, well, not really, but I think on the phone they are, on the Zoom. Jack, who would you suggest that they have in the meetings in those priority briefings? Who would you suggest that they bring, to that meeting as far as staff goes?
Yeah, typically it's ideal to have a few county commissioners. It's great to have a county parks director, any park planners, that may already be very knowledgeable around sort of the Parks and Rec master plan and what that can look like. So typically those are the individuals that will attend the initial briefing call.
Amy, I just put in an email address, but for some reason it went straight to municipalities. I don't know why that is. So I'm going to put in a second one here for you that you can go look at. Let me get that typed in here. Is anybody else thinking of any questions right now that you would like to? Okay, we've got here, you've got a couple questions. There is a question from Nathaniel. Is it one grant per entity?
No, so there's actually room for typically, given depending on the city's parks infrastructure and the consensus and prioritization of wellness infrastructure, Blue Cross has awarded up to 3 grants for one entity, one city, one county in the past. So I don't think we'd be able to award 5 or 10 grants, but I think Blue Cross might be interested in awarding 2 to 3 grants. So good opportunity, if you all have a large park system. And of course, we'd have to dive into that on a briefing call. But yeah, to answer your question succinctly, Nathaniel, it's not just one grant per entity. It could be multiple grants.
Okay, and they're speaking up now, probably because I said they were so quiet. Becky's asked a question: how well do they stand up to the weather?
Yeah, very well. We've designed these so that they're, very low maintenance. The courts are made primarily of carbon plated steel, galvanized steel, and aluminum. There's a dual powdered coated paint on everything, which is heat resistant. So these are really, built from the ground up to live in the outdoor environment, Becky. They're not indoor gyms that have been placed outside. Like I said, we've got courts all over the country, over 500 at this point, in all kinds of climates. We've got, 10 or 11 across Kansas. We've got 30 across Texas, where it's 120 degrees in the summertime. We've got courts in Colorado. So they do very well in all climates.
And Jack, I'm kind of remembering, thought you guys gave me a life expectancy of a court, because it's like with everything, there's nothing that exists that doesn't need maintenance, from humans to vehicles to courts. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. 25 years is the life expectancy. And in terms of what to expect generally on a year-to-year basis, from a maintenance perspective, a little bit of time, a little bit of labor going out on the court and just making sure that all the fittings and nuts and bolts are in working order, that things are, things are up to snuff. And then, if you all receive snow, which I think a lot of Kansas doesn't, shoveling snow, generally keeping the fitness court free of debris, right? Just like you would take care of a local playground or splash pad. It's pretty low maintenance for the fitness courts.
Thank you. And thank you for that question, Becky. We also have a comment here from Toby. And Toby says, Garnett, Kansas would be a good contact for anyone who wants a positive reference. He provided me with their costs for equipment, installation, dirt work, concrete pour, and the experience they've had. And I know right here, just north of Topeka and the city of Meriden, that there is a fitness court, which was amazing. So it doesn't go by size of community or county. It's just literally, placing that call, having that discussion, and it kind of just moving forward with getting that set from what I've seen.
Yep. Exactly right.
Does anyone have any other questions that you're thinking of? Also, I was very impressed with all of the resources, Jack, that you all provide in conjunction with, um, like having the app, of course, but having the helping to do the ribbon cuttings and helping with, after announcing it, that type of thing. As well, we just, we definitely want to say that KAC, if Kansas gets some more of these and you guys get one in your county, we will be talking to you and talking with National Fitness, Blue Cross Blue Shield to be sure we do, a big announcement about the success of getting a fitness court in and what it means for your community. I mean, we all know that this is a great thing. We all need more exercise. I can attest to that. Trust me. And to actually get some funding towards it to help the residents of your county, your communities is just a plus. And so I just wanted to put that out there. Also, just a total different side note, Jack, you won't know this, but behind the building we're housed in here in Topeka, there's a big plot of land. And so I thought that would always be a cool place for it. We're near downtown. Well, that plot of land is owned by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas, but they recently ran a water line there and they put in a community orchard. So
Oh,
it's not a fitness court, but it is a it's for the community and it's a fruit orchard that's just getting started. So that's a totally off subject, but yet I thought it was kind of neat because they literally are just a half a block from us.
wow.
So
Well, I guess it's not fitness, but at least it's something healthy happening there, right? Something healthy being grown.
yeah, it's not a fast food tree or something.
Right.
Okay, all you county people out there, all of our partners that are on the call, has anybody thought of any other questions, like as far as next steps or just kind of any other things that would help you in going back to discuss this with whoever you need to in your county to see what the interest is? And remember that Jack said too that they'd even help you guys look at, possibly, I think I understood that, Jack, that you would help them look at possible places within their county, their communities where this might be a beneficial place to put it. You'd want to probably put it near somewhere with access and kind of all of that type of thing. So
Yeah, that's right, Kimberly. We are blessed to have a group of very talented landscape architects at NFC, and what they do is they'll be able to put together a pretty robust feasibility study, which kind of gives the county a really good idea on where these fitness courts will have the most impact. Obviously, that will require a pretty fun conversation to discuss, pros and cons for each site and each park. But yeah, there's a lot of consulting that goes into that part of the process as well.
So really, you guys you're kind of like the one-stop shop for everything. It basically what's left is just the county doing the ask, and getting the other with you, and then just, utilizing their resources and things too, and your ideas for possible other funding venues to come up with their match. So
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It would start with that briefing call, reaching out to myself or our team to schedule that, and then going from there.
okay, Deborah has a real quick one for you, Jack. She asked if you can share the contact slide. She has a 2 p.m. meeting and will be leaving. So I don't know, do you have that in your presentation, or we can share it definitely with Deborah after if that would be easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm assuming she's talking about just how to get in contact with us for a briefing.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we can definitely get that to Deborah. I mean, I could quickly type in my email address. Maybe let me just do that. And Deborah,
Okay.
you can just reach out to me directly, and I'm happy to schedule something with you. So there's my email. and that's for everybody. If y'all want to reach out to me directly, and obviously we'll provide some more contact information for the future.
How many of you all on the call, I know a lot of you knew just from, the description what this was about. What do you think about this idea? You can do reactions, you could do a thumbs up, you could do a heart. I thought when they called us, we will tell you, we get here at KAC, we do get lots of emails and lots of requests for things. And I did look at the email, and then I did place the call, or we connected, and I'm like, wow, walked through thanks, Mark, for that. I agree. Saw the presentation, and I'm like, first of all, they're legit. And second of all, we know the people that are providing the funding, and then, doing a little bit further and knowing that there's sites here in Kansas already. We just thought, yes, I agree, Victoria, excellent idea for the Trails Project. Yeah, there's so many opportunities for where these could go. And it's such a simple thing. I think it's not an indoor gym where you have, a lot more kind of to deal with. I mean, this is an outdoor gym. Now, you know what though, Jack, here, even in Kansas, we'll have diehard people in the winter out doing this kind of stuff. So
Well, I've seen it. I know.
we're,
Well, not hard.
yeah, we're not exempt from all those diehards that still get out and do things. But we just saw this, and I just thought, wow, we wanted to try to get this. NFC has been great. They wanted to really get this message out. And honestly, I think, Jack, normally they don't do calls like this, but I was so excited when they said yes, because I thought this would be a great first step to kind of let you see that Jack's a real person, and that this is a very valuable funding funding opportunity for counties. And right now we're in recognizing Mental Health Awareness Month. And what a better way is just even, getting out and doing exercise and doing things like this really does help all of us kind of stay healthy mentally as well.
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, Jack, is there any additional closing thoughts or information that you can think about you'd like to share with us? Does anybody have any more questions? If so, now's your chance to kind of get those into the chat box for Jack.
No, I think I would just say thanks again for giving us this platform, and really excited to hopefully get in touch with a lot of you and discussing this really unique opportunity, and again, making Kansas healthier.
Great. Well, Jack, we appreciate you taking the time. And I just want to take a couple of minutes and remind everybody, I know the holiday weekend's coming up, so I want you to have a safe and enjoyable weekend and safe travels. And two, please, please, please don't forget that we do have these monthly Zoom calls, and everybody who's on the call today, once you registered, you received the connection information for all of the meetings. So Jack, you guys are welcome to join the group as well. All of our partners, we have our external partners such as yourself within the group. And remember that that also the Facebook group page is another great tool for all the work that you all are doing. There's a lot of information shared there. We do definitely want to see you all being able to talk to each other on that. Ideas for, okay, have you done this kind of court, and what are your thoughts? From that to, I think I've seen web design recently. We want to redo our website. Do you have any suggestions who to talk to? I mean, so use that tool most definitely to talk with each other, because if you're getting ready to do something, someone else has probably done it. And so there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. I did post on today the June calendar, so you can download that for the social media. And I think really that's all I've got for today. Again, I think Jack, it's been great having you on. For the Facebook page, would we find it under the National Fitness Campaign? Oh, sorry, Jack. The Facebook page I was talking about, or not Jack, sorry, Mark. The Facebook page I'm talking about is the Kansas County Communicators Facebook page. And I can actually put that on here right now for you. It's a group page. And we add information. I mean, you know, probably every day I put something on related to, you know, county government, possible funding, you know, it's just all kinds of stuff. AP style, here's the latest word and here's how you use it, you know, that type of thing. So right there, I put the Facebook page for everybody. So make sure to follow that. And like I said, you're on the monthly calls now, so you will receive the information as to what's going to come up in June and et cetera, moving forward. So we can't wait to see, hopefully, fingers crossed, that we get some new fitness courts in Kansas, and that will be exciting. And again, like I said, KAC will be there to help support you all with press or whatever we can do to help too, if you choose to do a fitness court. And with that, we're going to sign off for today, and just unless anybody has anything they want to share quickly. If so, just type something in the chat box or raise your hand. Okay, I'm not hearing anything from anyone, so I think we'll go ahead and end today's call, and we'll see you guys in June. Jack, thank you again. And I look forward to hopefully talking with you again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Kimberly. Have a
Thank
great
you.
long weekend, everybody.
You too. Stay safe.
See ya.
Bye.